Ever wonder why some people seem to attract wealth almost as if they were born with a magnet in their hands, while others struggle their entire lives, never able to get ahead, no matter how many hours they put in? Why it feels like money flows easily into some pockets, while for others it slips through their fingers like water in the sand? Let me tell you, it is not just about how much you earn, and it is not even about how much you save. It is not about luck. It is not even about talent. The truth is much simpler. Wealth is built on habits, simple, consistent, disciplined habits practiced day after day. There is a pattern to success, and just like there is a pattern to poverty, there is a pattern to prosperity. Those who rise financially don't do it by accident. They do it by intention. They make deliberate choices, small choices, over and over again that compound into wealth over time. These aren't flashy tricks. They aren't secrets reserved for a special few. They are practices, disciplines that anyone can learn, live by, and benefit from for the rest of their lives. Now, I know what some of you might be thinking. I'm just getting by, or it's too late for me. But let me tell you something. It is never too late. Wealth does not care where you started. It only cares about where you are headed. And no matter your age, no matter your background, no matter the size of your bank account right now, the moment you decide to adopt the habits of the wealthy is the moment everything begins to change. Because wealth is not about where you stand, it's about the direction you're moving. Success is built by the inch, not the mile. You can't leap your way into prosperity, but you can walk into it one discipline at a time. That's what separates those who thrive from those who just survive. And if you stick with me, I'll show you how a handful of simple daily disciplines can transform your entire financial destiny. Wealth isn't accidental, it's intentional. It doesn't just land in your lap because you were lucky enough to be in the right place at the right time. No, wealth is built brick by brick, choice by choice, through the quiet repetition of smart decisions. It's not the lottery ticket. It's not the windfall. It's not one lucky break. It's the little things you do every single day that add up over time. I used to think success was complicated, that maybe you needed to be special, to know more, to have more, to be more. But I learned something that changed my life forever. Success is nothing more than a few simple disciplines practiced every single day, not 100 things, not 50, just a few. That is what levels the playing field. When I was younger, I worked hard, really hard. I believed if I just put in the hours, eventually I'd make it. But here's what happened. The harder I worked, the more tired I got. And at the end of every month, I still found myself scrambling to pay the bills. And then I looked around and saw people who weren't working as hard as I was, yet they had savings, investments, options, and peace of mind. That puzzled me until I realized the difference. They weren't just working hard on their jobs. They were working hard on themselves. They were working hard on their habits. You see, the difference between those who struggle and those who thrive is not always how much they make. Two people can earn the same paycheck, yet one ends up wealthy while the other ends up broke. Why? Habits. One chooses to save before they spend. The other spends and hopes there's something left over. One studies money, reads, learns, and invests in growth. The other drifts through life on autopilot. It's not about intelligence, it's not about background, it's about daily choices. And if you want to be rich, you've got to start thinking like the rich. Not flashy, not reckless, but deliberate, strategic, thoughtful. Wealthy people don't stumble into fortune. They plan for it, they prepare for it, they plant seeds every day. And over time, those seeds grow. Slowly, yes, but surely. If you are tired of the paycheck-to-paycheck grind, the stress, the uncertainty, the endless cycle of running but never arriving, the first step is this. Stop believing that wealth is out of your control. It isn't. It's not about luck. It's about daily disciplines. Let me give you one of the simplest yet most powerful. Pay yourself first. Before you pay the bills, before you buy the groceries, before you spend a single cent, pay yourself. Save a portion of every single dollar you earn. It doesn't matter how small it is. What matters is the discipline, the mindset, the habit. Every dollar you save is like hiring a loyal employee that works for you 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. That dollar never sleeps, it never complains, and it never gets tired. But only if you put it to work. I was once told, start by saving a dime out of every dollar. At first I resisted. I thought, I can barely get by now. How can I save anything? But then I was told something that shook me. If you can't save $10 out of 100, you'll never be able to save $100 out of 1,000. And that was the lesson. It's not the amount, it's the habit. Once you build the habit of saving, it changes you. It gives you control, it gives you confidence, it tells your money where to go instead of you wondering where it went. Wealth doesn't start with huge leaps. It starts with small acts of discipline repeated consistently. Most people do it backwards. They spend first and hope there's something left at the end of the month. But there never is. Because money, like time, disappears when it isn't managed. When you pay yourself first, you declare, I matter, my future matters, my goals matter. That one act rewires your mind and changes your destiny. Now let's add another piece. If you want to build wealth, you have to know where your money is going. Track every dollar, Most people don't have a money problem, they have an awareness problem. It's not that they don't earn enough, it's that they don't know where their money is going. It slips through their fingers like sand, and they are left wondering why there's never enough. But let me tell you, what you don't measure, you can't manage. If you ran a company and had no idea how much money was coming in or going out, that company would not last long. Yet that's how so many people run their personal finances. In the dark, on autopilot. Swipe the card, spend without thinking, and then feel shocked when the account balance is lower than expected. But money, like anything important, requires attention. So here's what I suggest. For the next 30 days, track every expense. Write it down. Every coffee, every gas fill-up, every online purchase, every bill. Don't skip anything. The point isn't to judge yourself. The point is to understand yourself. Because awareness is the first step to change. And when you see the truth, you gain power, the kind of power that builds wealth. At first, it will feel tedious, yes, but it's not forever. It's training, and training pays off. Soon it becomes second nature. You start to think before you spend. You start making choices with intention instead of habit. That's when you stop drifting and start directing. Wealth is not a mystery. It is a discipline. It is not reserved for the lucky. It is reserved for the committed. And when you commit to a handful of daily habits, your financial life can never be the same again. One of the most powerful habits you can ever develop on your journey to wealth is the discipline of living below your means. Now let me be clear, this is not about being cheap, and it is not about depriving yourself of the good things in life. It is about shifting your mindset. It's about moving from the habit of spending to the habit of investing. It's about understanding the enormous difference between looking rich and being rich. Because here's the truth. Many people spend their entire lives trying to appear wealthy, while those who are truly wealthy often live simply, quietly, without the need to impress anyone. I once met a millionaire who drove a 10-year-old car. Nothing special. The seats were worn, the paint a little faded, the shine long gone. You probably wouldn't have noticed it in a crowded parking lot, but it ran well, and here was the important part. It was paid off. I asked him once, "Why don't you get something new? Surely you can afford it." And he smiled and said something I'll never forget. He said, "I could, but I'd rather use my money to buy time." Think about that. He didn't see his money as a tool for showing off. He saw it as a tool to buy freedom. Freedom from stress, freedom from debt, freedom from working just to keep up appearances. That was the shift. That's the difference. Wealth is not about the car in your driveway. It is not about the label on your clothes. It is about the options you create, the security you build, and the peace of mind you enjoy when you know that your life is under your control. When you learn to live below your means, you create something powerful, a gap, a margin between what you earn and what you spend. And it's in that margin that wealth is built. That's the space where you save, where you invest, where you grow, but most people never create that margin. The moment they get a raise, they raise their lifestyle. A bigger paycheck becomes a bigger house. A promotion becomes a new car. A bonus becomes more nights out. It feels good for a moment, but it creates a trap. That's called lifestyle inflation, and it is one of the biggest enemies of wealth. Because when your expenses rise to match your income, you stay stuck in the same cycle, no matter how much more you make. Living below your means is about control. It's about saying to yourself, I don't have to spend everything I earn just because I can. It's choosing to value the future more than the moment. It's deciding that what matters most is not the thrill of the purchase, but the freedom of the choice. It's not always easy, I know, especially when the world around you is constantly pushing consumption, status, and comparison. But you are not here to build someone else's life. You are here to build yours. And yours is worth the patience, the discipline, and the strength it takes to say no today so you can say yes tomorrow. That millionaire with the old car, he didn't care what people thought. He cared about being free. And because he lived below his means, he had investments growing, he had savings stacking, and he had the time to enjoy life on his terms. That's the reward. The reward is not living small. The reward is living smart. And when you do, you open the door to lasting wealth, not just temporary comfort. If you truly want to build wealth that lasts, you have to invest in the most powerful asset you have, your mind. That's why I tell people one of the greatest disciplines you'll ever practice is reading and learning daily. Not once in a while, not when you get into trouble, not when you're desperate, every single day. Because the more you learn, the more you earn. Your income will never grow past your personal development. Your financial life will never rise higher than your level of understanding. Formal education will make you a living. Self-education will make you a fortune. Think about that. School may teach you how to get a job, but it rarely teaches you how to build a life. It rarely teaches you how to grow wealth, how to invest, how to think in terms of freedom. That part is up to you. You've got to take control of your own education. You've got to become the student of your own life. You've got to feed your mind like you feed your body. Daily, intentionally, with quality input. I'm not talking about burying yourself in books for hours every day, just 30 minutes, that's it. 30 minutes of focused reading, listening to an audiobook, studying a subject that helps you grow. Imagine what that adds up to over a month, over a year, over 5 years. 30 minutes a day becomes a library of wisdom in your mind. It rewires your thinking. It helps you see patterns other people miss. It sharpens your decision-making. It opens your eyes to opportunities you never even noticed before. When I started this habit myself, it felt strange at first. I wasn't used to reading about money, about mindset, about growth, but I made a commitment. 30 minutes a day, no matter what, and slowly, my thinking began to change. I started understanding why I made certain mistakes. I began to learn about investing, about saving, about creating value. But even more importantly, I started believing that I could change. That belief came from knowledge. And when belief is born from knowledge, it has a strength that nothing can shake. The world is full of distractions, gossip, entertainment, endless news. All of that fills your time, but it will never fill your future. If you want to change your future, you have to change what you put into your mind. And the beautiful part? Most of what you need is free. Books, podcasts, videos, articles. It's all out there waiting for the one who is hungry enough to go after it. Every successful person I've ever met has this in common. They never stop learning. They understand that yesterday's knowledge will not solve tomorrow's problems. They stay curious, they stay humble, they stay teachable, and that's the mindset that leads to wealth. So start today. Pick up a book that stretches you. Listen to someone who's been where you want to go. Feed your mind with truth, with strategy, with inspiration. Because the better you think, the better you live. And wealth always begins in the mind long before it shows up in the bank. And if you want to go beyond saving money and move into building real wealth, you must learn to invest consistently. Saving is good. Saving is essential. Saving protects what you have. But saving alone will never make you rich. Investing is what grows what you have. That is the difference between storing your money and putting your money to work. Wealthy people understand this deeply. They don't just work for money. They make their money work for them. Most people wait. They wait for the right time. They wait until they have a large amount to start with. They wait for the perfect investment. But waiting is the enemy. The farmer doesn't wait for the perfect day to plant his crops. He plants because he knows the sooner the seed is in the ground, the sooner the harvest will come. Investing works the same way. Don't wait. Start small. Start now. And then keep watering those seeds. Every dollar you invest is a seed. Plant it, protect it, watch it grow. At first, nothing seems to happen. But over time, it becomes a tree. That tree bears fruit. The fruit carries more seeds, and those seeds become more trees. That is compounding. That is the miracle that builds fortunes. Not in a week, not in a month, but over years of discipline. And here's the truth. The best time to start was yesterday. The second best time is today. If you're serious about wealth, stop waiting for perfect. Start where you are with what you have. Commit to being a consistent investor, because consistency beats intensity. Small, steady deposits over time beat the occasional big move. The rewards of this discipline aren't just financial. They're emotional. They're spiritual. They give you freedom. Freedom to live on your own terms. Freedom to choose how you spend your days. Freedom to live without fear of the next bill or the next downturn. And that, my friend, is the real goal. Open doors that didn't exist just a decade ago. If you have a skill, if you have a story, if you have a solution to a problem, then you have something you can turn into income. It won't happen overnight, and it will take effort. But the effort is worth it, because when you build multiple streams of income, you're not just chasing money. You're building a future with more stability, more freedom, and more control over your life. That's wealth. If you're serious about getting rich, not just financially, but in mindset, in discipline, in direction, then you must look closely at who you're spending your time with. Surround yourself with winners, because the truth is your environment shapes your behavior far more than you think. It influences your habits, your standards, your thinking, and whether you realize it or not, you are always becoming like the people you spend the most time with. You are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. That line isn't just clever, it's a mirror. If you want to know where your life is headed, look at your circle. Are the people closest to you pushing you forward or pulling you back? Are they inspiring you to grow or keeping you comfortable where you are? Do they challenge you to be better, or do they reinforce the same old thinking that has kept you stuck? I've seen people with great potential lose years of progress because they refused to leave environments that didn't serve them. They stayed around people who complained, who made excuses, who spent recklessly, who mocked ambition. And slowly, without even realizing it, they adopted the same habits. Not because they were weak, but because environment always wins over intention. If you want to level up your life, you've got to level up your circle. Now, this doesn't mean you cut everyone off or walk away from the people you care about, but it does mean making conscious choices about where you spend your energy. It means seeking out people who are ahead of you, people who think bigger, people who live with discipline and purpose, because when you're around people who are growing, you grow too. Their habits rub off. Their mindset challenges you. Their presence raises your standards. I remember a time when I felt stuck, working hard but not making progress. Then I started spending time with people who were building things, people who read every day, people who invested consistently, people who talked about goals and strategies, not gossip and problems. Just being around them shifted something in me. I started thinking differently, I started acting differently, and I began to see what was possible. And once you see it, you can't unsee it. So here's the challenge. Audit your circle. Take a good, honest look at the 5 people you spend the most time with. What are they doing with their lives? How do they talk about money, about growth, about responsibility? Are they building or drifting? Are they making excuses or taking action? And most importantly, are they the kind of people who help you become the person you want to be? If not, it's time to make some changes. You don't need to make a big announcement. Just start spending more time in rooms where growth is the norm, not the exception. Find mentors, join communities, read the words of people who inspire you. Because the right environment doesn't just support your success, it demands it. And that's how you rise, that's how you win. And if you don't know where you're going, how will you ever get there? That's why the next step is to set clear financial goals. Not vague hopes, not someday dreams, real, defined, intentional goals. Because clarity creates confidence and confidence creates action. When you know exactly what you're working toward, your efforts become focused, your decisions become sharper, and your progress becomes measurable. Too many people drift financially. They say things like, I just want to be rich, or I hope I can retire someday. But hope is not a strategy. Wealth doesn't respond to vague intentions. It responds to clear direction. You've got to define what success looks like for you. Is it paying off debt? Is it saving your first $10,000? Is it investing regularly? Is it owning your home? Whatever it is, write it down. Name it, own it, because when you do, your mind begins to search for ways to make it real. I remember when I first got serious about my finances. I was tired of just getting by. I wanted more than survival. I wanted freedom. So I sat down with a notebook and I wrote 3 goals for the year. They weren't huge, but they were specific. First, I wanted to pay off a $3,000 credit card balance. Second, I wanted to save $5,000 in an emergency fund. Third, I wanted to start investing $100 a month into a retirement account. That was it. 3 goals. But something happened the moment I wrote them down. They weren't just ideas anymore, they became targets. And every decision I made after that went through the filter of those goals. Did this purchase help me or hurt me? Was I moving closer or further away? And month by month, the debt started shrinking. The savings started growing. That little investment began to build momentum. I didn't hit every goal perfectly, but I made more progress in that 1 year than I had in the 5 years before. And it all started with clarity. You don't need to wait for a new year or for some big life event to change. You can start right now. Take a few minutes, grab a piece of paper, or open a note on your phone and write down 3 financial goals for the next 12 months. 1 short term, 1 medium term, 1 long term. Maybe it's saving $1,000 for emergencies. Maybe it's starting a side hustle to earn an extra $200 a month. Maybe it's maxing out your retirement contributions or saving for a down payment on a home. Whatever it is, make it clear, make it specific, and most importantly, make it yours. Your goals should excite you. They should scare you just a little. They should stretch you. They should give you purpose, because when your goals are clear, your actions will begin to align. And when your actions align, that's when transformation begins. Wealth doesn't just happen. It's built on vision. It's built on discipline. It's built on follow through. And it all begins with the decision to set the goal. So don't drift. Don't just wish, decide, declare, and then start walking in that direction every single day.